Welcome, everybody, to episode 246. That is the area code for...
Barbados.
Barbados. Yeah, somebody's going to correct us.
Actually, that's not in the song.
It's not in the song.
We were just arguing about
The
that.
Beach Boys didn't like Barbados.
Not enough to put it in the song.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, guys, we're talking about this crazy TikTok refugee movement.
Yes.
And this whole Xiaohongshu little red book... Rednote, as they're trying to disguise it as.
It's
by the way,
funny.
we'll get into that. It's kind of crazy, but it's quite a movement. There's a lot to talk about.
A lot of anthropology as well, because people are meeting each other for the first time.
Yes,
Chinese and Americans.
I got to say there are some positives out of this.
For sure.
Some interesting things happening, but we wanted to cover it because we've got a lot of insight into it.
Also, we pick up on trends when the Chinese propaganda department starts pumping stuff out, and they are pumping this to death.
Huge.
And they are using American TikTokers' videos as proof as to why it shouldn't be banned.
Yes.
So we're going to go through some of those and break those down and show you why they're probably sharing
Think
those
about
out.
this as the definitive video on this whole TikTok debacle.
TikTok ban / migration to Rednote.
TikTok
/
refugee
rat.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Everything.
But it's a full show, so we're going
It
to
is.
start off with what's new, where we talk about everything that's new, specifically with regards to China. So let's get right into it. Saunter right into it, one might say. Last week, we told you about this crazy uprising that happened because of this mysterious death of a student. So we wanted to give you an update. And the update is this. That entire area is still under martial law. As you can see, the roads are still blocked off and people are not allowed to go anywhere near that entire area.
I just want to throw this out there. You know how everyone was all up in arms about Korea going into martial law?
Yeah.
Seoul?
Yeah.
Why does nobody talk about this?
I know.
100,000 people in China in this small city stormed into the gates to demand reasons and demand answers and got beaten by cops brutally as they protested. Everyone got basically driven out of the area, surrounded, arrested, black bagged, and now that entire area is under martial law and there's not 1 ounce of news about it because when China does bad things, it doesn't matter.
No, that's pretty much how it goes, right? So we wanted to update you. It's still locked down. People are still not allowed to go even anywhere near that place. Big intersections, as you can see here. So that's the update on that.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. It's see, it's blocked off. You can't go down there.
Where's that news?
Where's the news? Sorry, this is a mini repeat of, that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Anyway, we got to break things up a little bit. What have you got for us here?
Well, there's some viral clips going around on the internet, in the Chinese internet. This guy was cooking with some stones, right? The stones.
Ouch.
A little PSA. If the stones are wet, by the way.
Yeah.
If you're cooking with wet stones on the fire, if they heat up, they will explode.
Okay.
Be careful when you're doing that. You have a campfire or whatever, cooking a pot, whatever.
Don't throw wet stones into the fireplace?
Or use wet stones to surround the fire.
Okay. So like prop up your pot or something? Okay. Yeah. Dry them off first.
Or just don't use them because they retain water.
Yeah, this is true. Okay.
This guy lost all the beer. He lost all the beer, guys.
I'll get us out of there. That's unfortunate.
He lost all the beer. He's going to be in big trouble.
Well, I mean, just think about... Okay, yes. You have to
Can you pause it there?
I will.
I just want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Would you also do that? Would you have a sip?
I have done that. What do you mean? What are you saying? Would you? I have done that.
Would you have that sip in after you've deleted all the other beers?
Of course. You don't want it to go to waste. I'd go literally, depending on my mood and the situation, I might even go suck it up off the floor. Obviously, if it was a clean, sterile floor, not the road.
I absolutely would not do that.
You wouldn't do that? Imagine
There's glass shards in
okay, but you could separate them aside and then you know what I mean? Strain them out.
No beer is worth glass shards in your stomach.
What if you dropped a really expensive bottle of bourbon or something?
Yeah, then I'd reconsider.
Yeah, then you'd probably all over there licking it off the floor.
I don't know.
Glass shards and all.
I don't know.
Like 100-year-old scotch or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's too old. I don't want to drink that.
You'd probably take a mop and then squeeze it out into a glass.
No, I wouldn't.
Anyway.
The glass is what bothers me, not the dirt.
You. Yeah, put it through a strainer.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Okay, anyway.
This is a PSA to not buy fake shoes.
Oh.
She ran into the... Did you see what she did?
Yeah, and she slipped down because her shoe came apart.
Yeah, that's what happens when you buy counterfeit shoes.
True. Yeah.
So buy real Nikes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, now this, we wanted to ask our audience about this. What do you think this? Well, just put it in your comments in the chat here. What do you think this truck driver is going to do? This guy, you see him over here. What do you think what is his aim?
Okay, I'll just watch the chat.
Okay.
What do you think he will do?
Yeah. What is he
stuck here?
What is he trying to achieve here? Is the question. See, he got out of his truck.
Yeah. Okay, let's leave it there and let the chat populate a little.
So, guys, you've got this big truck. He's carrying either it looks like natural gas or petrol or something. It's a big, dangerous looking container truck.
Yes.
He's reversed back from the off ramp, right?
Yes.
He gets out of his truck and he walks down the road to check something.
Yes.
What do you think he's about to do?
Yeah. What is his next action? I guess.
What would be his next choice?
He's not gonna poop, guys. That's
okay. I think we've left people in
change
suspense.
lanes, block the roadway, turn around.
Let's see.
U-turn.
Well, he's doing something, all right.
He's definitely U-turning. On the high. Oh, would you expect he's driving down the wrong way down the highway after that?
Now, you see, I have seen this in real life, and so have you, in China, where people, they miss an exit.
Seen it?
Yeah, you yeah, but I mean,
I lived it.
Yeah, but you're in a situation where the person who was driving reversed. They didn't do a U-turn.
No, they reversed.
They reversed to get to the off.
So I was in a car on the highway. They did this, but instead of turning around, they just went backwards at 20 miles an hour down the highway with people going to get back on the exit.
Yeah, because they missed an exit.
This is heading it on.
This is like he missed an exit like 10 miles back.
Yeah.
And he's realized, I've got to be there. So how am I going to get there? I'll just turn around and drive with my explosive tanker against oncoming traffic.
People wonder why there's so many crazy accident footage things in China.
And like I said, I've seen it with private cars, but when you have a truck, you would think that a truck driver has a little bit more experience and a little bit more knowledge of the road.
Yeah. You would think that.
Because, they drive a lot, right?
You'd think
this guy's like, nah, I missed my exit. I'm just going to turn around. Anyway.
Hold on. What? Guys, would you please do us a favor and give us a thumbs up on this video? Because I want you to give a thumbs up, and I'll make it personal.
Okay.
Give a thumbs up to this video if you would not head into oncoming traffic backwards.
Exactly. In a explosive truck.
If you would do that, then feel free to avoid the
thumbs up. Please do it.
But do it, please. Yes. We could really use your help.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, so what else is going on here? We've got a truck. Well, hang on. You actually saw that. I got to go back to that. I'd like to play this in one more time for you guys to see. Okay, we'll get out of there so you can see it correctly.
We're just looking at Temu shoe again.
Yeah, that's how it goes. Where's Jeff?
He's in the bathroom taking a Temu.
That's correct.
All right, so this is the Shanxi truck.
Yeah, okay. Because there's actually a clip where you see it from another camera when he turns around.
Okay.
So I just wanted to ask you guys, can you imagine the lack of common sense that's going on here right now?
It's actually, I can explain it away. It's called the belief in Yuan Fen, which is fate.
Yes.
It means that if you believe that it's just your time, then it's just your time.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is the camera angle I wanted to show.
Oh, okay.
So he's driving the wrong way.
Oh, we get more footage?
Yeah, just a little blip. And you see other tanker trucks going at full speed, just going past him. Shoom. Like, how dangerous is that?
That's absolutely insane. I'm so desensitized to this, though. Look at the tanker on the top is actually wide open.
So it's probably empty.
Yeah, so he's like, you know what? If it was full, I wouldn't do this. But
you think so?
It's empty.
You think so?
No,
okay.
Absolutely not.
Anyway, this poor guy gets sprayed.
So actually, I can explain that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
In China, these guys have to go like clockwork in these street sprayers.
Yeah.
And they will actually even run them while there's a flood.
Yes, I think this guy's watering the lawn, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same purpose. Yeah, exactly. Right? I mean, different purpose.
Yeah, even if it's flooding and raining, they'll still do it as well. Yes, it's just, that's their job. Poor guy just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, and this, what we're going to show you here is a little bit of a PSA. These are PSA videos. This is like, it's when you have a setup.
Yeah.
Just to demonstrate.
Well, they only exist because it's such an issue.
Exactly. Now, everybody goes on about China having a cashless society and how amazing it is and how unprecedented it is, which is kind of weird because ask yourself, when is the last time you used cash in America?
Like years ago.
Yeah, I mean, if you use, you
I
can.
can't even think of a time I've used. You know what? I gave someone a tip
with cash.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
I mean,
rarely.
It's very rare. I mean, you do still use it.
It's only because I had some on me.
Yeah,
yeah.
But every time you use your little tap your credit card thing, like that chip, or you use a debit card,
Apple Pay.
Yeah,
everyone.
what I'm trying to say is that Chinese propagandists have made it out as if China is like this groundbreaking cashless society where the rest of the world has been using credit cards for decades before China decided to do this. Yeah. But here's one of the things that's a danger. This guy has one of those Easy Pass cards in his car. So how it works in China is every single highway you drive on, every single highway you have to pay a toll.
Yeah, you know how only some roads in America are toll roads?
Yeah.
Every road in China, if it's a highway.
Every single highway has a toll. There is not one mile of highway in China that you don't pay for.
No, it's super expensive.
Yeah. And I think
clogged.
people don't realize that.
Yeah.
But you get on the Gaosu and you go through the little thing and you either pay right there, like you get a card and then when you get off you pay, or you have one of these Easy Pass things and then you go and it sees it, it beeps it, opens up, you go through, right?
The thing is, that's tied to all of your finances.
It can be, yes.
No, a lot of times it is.
So you either recharge it, you can recharge it at recharge stations.
Yeah.
And you put in like 1,000 RMB, say, or 2,000 RMB, or it can be tied to your digital wallet. But people go around and they have these devices like this guy. Take a look.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
There we go.
He paired it.
Yeah,
like, what are you doing?
And what happens is that device acts as if it is a toll reader, and it actually minuses the money off of your account.
Yeah, bro's acting like a mobile toll.
Yeah, exactly. So
walking around stealing. These are very common, by the way.
That happens.
I used to see people do this in the park. You know, in like a park and ride or like a rest stop.
Yes,
people
on the highways. Yeah, they just walk around.
And there were signs. It was like, "Watch out for bandits." Or
yes, yeah, exactly. It's happened to people that we know. Family members.
Yes.
And basically, you can get huge amounts of money wiped out in a single go.
You know what's funny is that when you just maybe have a flashback, you can tell if someone's doing well in their car, like when you line up to go in the toll, because it'll actually have a screen of how much money they have.
Yes.
And every time I saw like a normal person with like a crap car, it'd be like 200 RMB or something or less.
It tells you how much is left, but everybody can see it.
But everyone can see it. And then I would see a CCP official car.
It's got like 50,000 RMB.
50 or 100,000 RMB. Why that much?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah, why have you got that much in your card? You're absolutely right. I forgot about that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the people that have the communist flag on their thing. Yeah. Corrupt ass country. They have to put out these PSAs to teach people to
you got to be careful.
These guys. Yeah.
And here's another scam where the guy's got his wallet on the table. You can see it over there, right? That little black rectangular wallet. And the guy's got a bag and he just comes in and he's like, distracts him and puts his bag on top of it. Yeah. See?
See, we got caught.
And again, think about this. You know when you go to a credit card machine and you tap? Similar thing can work with the phone now in China as well. You know, you could tap your phone or you have your credit card, whatever. They have a machine that could just tap your bag and then like take all your money out.
They tap the bag and then they get the bag.
Yeah, well, they get everything that's in your wallet.
Well, the bag just
your
means
digital
money.
wallet.
That's what young people say these days.
Yeah.
Get the bag.
Okay.
Get paid.
All right, I see. Now that makes sense. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that's going around. You got another funny clip for us here?
Well, I mean, it's up to you.
I mean, okay.
I just thought it was fishing related. So this guy, he puts his pole down.
Okay.
And I'll tell you this. What? I would also put my pole down to relax because I know I'm not going to catch anything. These guys never catch anything.
No.
The fish they catch are like this big because everything's so overfished in China.
It's true.
So they'll actually pull out a fish this big and keep it.
Yeah.
And like cook it in soup and like it's just bones basically. Anyway, they do this to 打酱油, as they say in Chinese. 打酱油 means like pass the time.
Yeah.
Just like
kill
just
time.
mess around, but not be good at the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Killing time.
You know what a good analogy is? 打酱油 is specifically like when you go to a thing you're supposed to know how to do, but you don't really know how to do it. So like someone that goes to a gym and just stands around the equipment, that's 打酱油, which actually translates to hit soy sauce.
Yes, exactly.
So this guy's hitting soy sauce.
Yep.
And he just puts his pole down because if he catches anything, it's going to go, right?
Yep.
But he sits down in this flimsy chair and look what happens.
Okay, let's see. Oh, he got Zhang all over his face.
And his pole piece is out.
Oh, man, that's bad luck.
I want to see that one more time.
Yeah.
Whether that's a setup or not,
No,
that's up to you. But
yeah.
it's funny because there's genuine reactions of the other fishermen
Yes,
that are
exactly.
like, what's going on?
Yeah, okay, let's take a look. Yep. I mean, regardless, he got stuff all over his face.
Or regardful.
Yeah. Yeah.
He could be highly regarded. Who knows? Anyway, very funny clip. What's this?
Okay, now this is a little bit more concerning.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of AI images being used in disinformation and misinformation these days.
Yes, and a good flashback for you guys is the Hawaii wildfires.
Yes.
The whole Maui fires.
Yes.
China and politicians that wanted to be against America for the sake of being against America and push their agenda, pushed a Chinese propaganda campaign that used fake imagery about the Hawaii
fake AI,
fires.
Image of the fires. Anyway, I just want to, before we even comment on what's going on, I'm going to show you 3 images. We've got one of a Chinese child. These are all AI generated, by the way.
Yes.
If you couldn't tell, it's pretty obvious to me. Of a Chinese child during these terrible earthquakes that we told you about last week that had just happened in Tibet, right? Then we've got an image talking about Gaza, okay? Also AI generated too.
Both fake.
Yes, both AI and generated. And then we have one about the Hollywood burning. All of these are AI generated.
Yes.
Now, on the Chinese internet, the one about Hollywood grabbed a lot of attention, allowed this person to get a lot of views, a lot of engagement.
Oh, not just this. Like, this is just one example of thousands that spread this.
Okay, and I'll go back to the other one. The one about Gaza gained a lot of sympathy, a lot of comments about how terrible it is, etc., etc. This is all on the Chinese internet.
Yes. That was not removed either.
No,
that was the Hollywood one.
The one about the China earthquake.
On the left.
Yeah. The person who posted it got detained by the police.
They got arrested.
Yeah.
They got arrested.
Yeah.
For sharing an AI image. Because it showed China in a negative light.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird?
Wild. Number one, props for having some regulation on AI imagery, and absolute shame on you for not prosecuting the other AI images.
I mean, that's fake. It's okay to have AI imagery if it shows America in a bad light.
And it does.
Or pushes a political agenda like the Gaza thing.
Yes.
But not if it's China. Then it's no, you're not allowed to do that. Isn't that crazy?
It's
and it ties into this
whole double standard.
This whole thing we're going to talk about today. And don't worry, guys, we're getting to the main topic soon. There's a few things we have to get out of the way here,
well, not get out of the way.
Cover, I should say. Yeah. Wrong wording.
Yeah, I'm trying to rip through this. You guys remember this?
Yeah.
What was this? Well, this is the Uyghur genocide, right? So just pause it real quick. Mm-hmm. This is when China took over 1 million Uyghur people, the Muslim people in Western China that don't identify as Chinese.
I don't know why people try to downplay this. This is real.
It's a genocide.
And it's a cultural genocide. Okay, they took them and told them, you're not allowed to practice your religion anymore. You're not allowed to have your beards anymore.
You're not allowed to have your language.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have your language anymore. Separated children away from parents. Just disappeared people
literally
for no
took
reasons.
All the adults, the Uyghur adults, and put them in concentration camps. They built concentration camps that a Chinese guy was actually able to expose.
Yeah, we've exposed it in the past. We've shown the footage. People were doing forced labor.
Xinjiang police files.
Yes.
There was a hack where all of the criminals were exposed, and they turned out to be people that were praying in their home.
Yes.
Millions of people, right, were detained for just very innocuous things.
So, look, and it's absolutely worked. They've completely neutered any sort of cultural identity or religious identity. You're not allowed to anymore.
And now what they do
all you're allowed to do is dance around and pretend.
Yes. So it's the most tightly controlled area in terms. It's basically like North Korea surveillance, but with higher surveillance.
Yes.
In this area of China, in Western China, called Xinjiang. And what happens now is that China employs Westerners to go there and say that there's no genocide. It's
when you see these horrible travel shills and they go to Xinjiang and they go to tourist sites
and they're like, what genocide?
Like the Grand Bazaar, and the old town and the Hotan night market and stuff, and they go there. Oh, there's no genocide here, and they show a tourist site. It's like going to Disneyland and saying, oh, there's no drug abuse in America because you're walking around Disneyland and there's Mickey Mouse and stuff.
That's a perfect analogy.
It's ridiculous, right? There's no gun violence in America. This is like Misty Mountain or whatever it is. You know, like, look at this roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's what's going on.
Yes.
It's
There's
stupid.
no homelessness in America.
Yeah, because look
at Space Mountain.
I know, exactly. That's what's going on. Anyway, we don't need to go too far into that.
As a refresher, because right now what China's doing is they just started boarding schools in Tibet, which is basically re-education centers for Tibetan children now. Mm-hmm. So this is not the Muslims in Xinjiang. This is the Tibetan people, which also don't identify as being Chinese, correct. Right? So this is a way to culturally genocide another group of people that they've been doing, by the way, for decades.
Oh,
when Chairman Mao forcefully
remember how
Tibet.
like all the politicians and shills say China's never invaded any country.
Tibet was a country, bro.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's part of China now.
Yep.
You invaded it with soldiers and killed everybody.
Yep, they invaded that. They invaded
you deposed
Vietnam.
the Dalai Lama. You kicked him out.
Yeah, that's just one of the places they did actually invade. Yes. Just in case you're not up to scratch. Just one of many, yeah. I got a whole video about that.
Anyway, it's just interesting right now. New York Times did a great piece. You can go ahead.
Okay, you've got that in the description?
Yeah, New York Times did a great piece on this. Hundreds of thousands of Tibetan children are being separated from their families and placed into boarding schools by the Chinese government. And what they're making them do is shocking. They're making them parade around with a hammer and sickle and the Xi Jinping thought book and portraits of the leaders, right? And trying to completely erase their identity because they don't want to get into a situation like the Uyghurs where they have to re-educate adults. It's much harder to re-educate adults.
Oh, yeah.
So you take a child away from their family, right? Yeah. And you say, your religion is bad, your parents are evil, right? You are fine as long as you are Chinese, right? So stop speaking your language, stop practicing Buddhism. You now follow the dear leader, right? And I'm not exaggerating. This is what's happening on mass right now. It's pretty horrible. It's pretty insane, and this is happening, and it's apparently. I just want to throw out there, like we're amidst all this, like talking about like TikTok bans and all this kind of stuff. This is happening right now in China, and a lot of people are now thinking that China is some bastion of like unknown culture that they've never been able to reach, and it's some like hidden secret that the American government doesn't want us to know about. It's the other way around, my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a bad government.
It's a very bad government.
Don't need to get too preachy, but it's a great article.
Yeah, and this is also going on, you know, what are we going to save? What are we going to prioritize when there's an earthquake there? We got to put up pictures of Xi Jinping like he's a god.
Isn't that wild?
In the relief tents. In the relief tents.
So there's relief tents in the Tibetan area where these earthquakes happen, and this is what they're doing. Yeah. This is the country, guys, that you apparently are supposed to look up to.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get really deep into it shortly. What's going on here? Another funny clip?
Yeah.
You've been sprinkling them in very liberally this time.
Oh, I just want, people to not get too down.
I'm not against it.
Yeah, I didn't want people to get too down.
Sure.
Just what's going around the Chinese internet. he got kicked in the nards.
Yeah.
Look at that table. That is a Temu table.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. What else is happening? Guys going for a coconut. Whoa.
He's a woman, but yeah.
Okay, sorry.
That's right.
Okay, so hang on. This looks like fun, by the way.
This looks like a good time.
You got a plastic chair, and you've welded a frame with a wheel and put it at the side of a motorcycle. It's like a sidecar, right? I love that.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
I don't think that's a good thing to promote.
No. Yeah, rather.
Maybe don't do that.
To be fair, it's very difficult to control a sidecar motorcycle.
We've driven one, yeah. It's way harder than you think it is.
It's weird.
It looks normal, like you're just gonna be able to steer.
But you can't lean.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Because you're on a motorcycle, you're supposed to lean and shift your weight. You can't shift.
Yeah, so especially if you make it by yourself, you don't get all the geometry right. It's going to be terrible to ride.
Being a black guy.
Okay, what's this?
So this is going around on the American internet as well. This Hong Kong street interview guy, he's in Hong Kong, goes up to interview this dude about what it's like to be black in Hong Kong / what it's like to be black in China. And this is what he said.
Okay.
In Asia, do you get any weird looks?
In Hong Kong, not really. In China, too much.
Too much?
It's unbearable.
What do they do to you in China? They try to rub your skin in China?
They're trying to clean it.
It's true, though.
Yeah, actually, just before we get into that, our black friends in China had such a miserable time.
Yep, I can attest.
So bad. Like, because especially...
By the way, that rubbing thing, it happened to them too.
Yeah, for sure. It's something I've seen.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like, there's ignorance and then there's maliciousness. And the problem is maybe that's ignorance, right?
It's just ignorance, yeah.
But the comments are not just ignorance.
No.
When they're dropping the really bad words.
If you understand Chinese, it suddenly becomes bad. If you don't understand Chinese, you can be blissfully ignorant.
Yes.
But if you understand Chinese, the comments, because people are not afraid to just speak their minds in China.
Yeah.
They like to blurt things out about things they see, especially if it's something they've never seen before or rarely see. So as a foreigner, they'll very often just be like, oh, foreigner over there, like,
Say
oh, look at his big
things.
nose or whatever. But, when you've got your black friends with it, they'll be like, look, he's so ugly, or look, he looks like a this or that, or he smells bad, and they just blurt that out. And, most black people I know, especially from Africa in China, speak Chinese incredibly well.
They actually take the time to learn.
Well, yeah, and also like just growing up in Africa, for some reason,
lots of languages.
Yeah, all the people that I grew up around that were African, they could speak like 5 languages. They're very good at languages, and they pick up Chinese very quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's even more insulting when they can hear it.
Yeah, well, it's because the people that are saying these horribly racist things don't ever expect them to. I mean, we've overheard stuff in China. Like, I'll tell you a quick example. One time I was in the elevator in China.
Yeah.
And so normally it would be something like, oh, look, he's kind of handsome or whatever. But one time I was in with a couple. They were like probably in their 40s or whatever. And they never expect me to speak Chinese.
Sure.
And the woman looks over at me and she goes to her husband. She goes, I thought foreigners were supposed to be handsome. And I go, thanks. Gee, thanks.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, oh, shit. He understood.
Yeah.
But anyway, that kind of stuff happens, right? That kind of stuff happens in China. And usually, I would say it's 50-50. Nowadays, if you're an American in China, it could be very bad, but you'll never know if you don't speak Chinese.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're just some tourist, you're not going to know. You're not going to understand.
Yeah.
But if you understand, you're not going to be happy.
I had fun with that once because I was in an elevator and it was the opposite. I was speaking English to my friend, and there was a young couple there, and the girl, she obviously was studying English or something because she could understand what I'm saying, but she was translating everything that I said to her boyfriend. So I'd say like, man, we got to go like get some food after this, and then she'd be like, oh, Thomas rolled in, she'd basically be translating along, and then she started doing copycat, like everything I said, she'd say in Chinese to her boyfriend. So then I like said a really complicated sentence of gobbledygook, and then she just giggled and she realized the gig was up. You know what I mean?
Do you remember when we were at IKEA?
Yeah.
This goes the other way around because I want to be fair. This is not like those bad racist Chinese people. It's not like that.
Yeah, no. It can go
every which way.
Because foreigners do the same. We think,
Absolutely.
they can't understand us when we talk.
Because the vast majority of people don't.
Yeah,
right?
it's
but
true.
One time we were in IKEA in Shenzhen, and we had just got back from seeing abject poverty all over China because we just got back from filming a documentary.
Yeah.
And we had gone through this region of Hunan and Guizhou that was so unbelievably poor. It'd change your life. It was, you're talking about very third world conditions.
Yes.
No running water, no electricity, kids walking without shoes down the road picking up rats.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we were seeing.
Yeah, we saw it. Mm-hmm.
So we're in IKEA, and the juxtaposition was shocking, right?
Yeah.
So I said to Winston, we just got back from backwater Guizhou where we saw the most horrible poverty and we're waiting in line to get like a hot dog at IKEA or something. Yeah. And I was like, isn't that crazy? And this woman turns around, this Chinese woman turns around and she goes, have you ever even been to Guizhou? And I was like, actually, we were just there. But she overheard and she was pissed off. She goes, I'm from Guizhou and I'm not poor.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, I didn't say you were.
No, that's true. I remember that interaction very well.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got to get into the whole TikTok Xiaohongshu TikTok refugee topic. We've got it lined up. But first we have a word.
Yes.
Okay, so our word is about your health. And it's about AG1, our sponsor, who's fantastic.
AG1 is something that we have been drinking for a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, positively love AG1. What habits are we leaving behind this year, in this new year?
Being unhealthy.
Thankfully, we have not had to worry about that too much because we've been drinking AG1. But we do obviously want to eat healthier too. The good thing is that even if you are trying to become healthier and you're not really pulling out all the stops, drinking AG1 is covering all
It's
your
going to help.
nutritional
It'll help your like Cheetos and Mountain Dew diet.
Yes.
You know?
Preferably you're not doing that either.
Of course, yeah.
But if you're drinking AG1, you got all your vitamins and minerals for the day. You could possibly improve your gut health.
Yeah.
We've noticed our energy levels absolutely explode with regular drinking of AG1.
Oh, yeah, it's way better.
It tastes great. It takes seconds to mix in a cup of water. It's fantastic. One thing you can also do, by the way, is if you want to hold yourself accountable, you can call your friend. You can be like, let's go in this together. This is a new year. Let's get healthy together. And AG1's a fantastic thing for both of you to share.
Yes.
You can compare notes and say, how did it make you feel? We know that we keep each other on track by drinking it. We feel a lot better. We can personally endorse it. We stay consistent with it. We love it. And we love working with AG1 as well.
Correct.
So this year, try AG1 for yourself. It's the perfect time to start a new healthy habit, and that's why we've been partnering with AG1 for so long. AG1 is offering new subscribers a free $76 gift when you sign up. You'll get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3K2, and 5 free travel packs in your first box. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/ADV to get this offer. That's drinkag1.com/ADV to start your new year on a healthier note. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you very, very much, AG1. And now, guys, time to get back to the show and head right into Soft Power Hour, which is coming up just as we glide over this lake. Okay, Soft Power Hour, where we talk about how China's trying to change your mind, literally this time through, all of its propaganda. So, this video, you would have seen in the thumbnail the picture of this woman. Never seen or heard of her before.
No, well, that's not important.
Yeah, but the Chinese government really loves her right now.
Loves her video, at least.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they love her because she made this video, obviously.
Yeah. It's working out
so,
for them. Let's just
Zhang Heqing, who is a Chinese Communist Party official, government official, posted this. He's a rubbish dude. Exactly.
Dude. Anyway, yeah.
Now, pay attention to the wording. This video by popular TikTok personality Soupy is going viral with 1.2 million likes and 3.9 million views in 15 hours. Potential voters of U.S. politicians are very unhappy now. Okay.
That's quite the stretch, Zhang Heqing.
Yeah, by the way, the video's got probably about 10 million views by now.
But that's quite the stretch.
Yeah.
The whole voter thing.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about? Anyway.
Let's see. Where is the next one? Okay, here. This guy is a very well-known propagandist for the CCP. Okay. It says, this video by popular TikTok personality Soupy is going viral with 1.2 million likes and 3.9 million views in 15 hours. Potential voters of U.S. politicians are very unhappy now.
Very interesting. It's the same.
It's exactly
the same script.
So, Chinese government official, CCP official, posts something.
And then amplifiers.
Chinese, very well-known propagandist for the CCP, just posts absolute garbage propaganda all day.
Yeah.
Attacking America and posting, CCP propaganda. Exact same wording and same video.
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
Yeah. Very interesting.
This video by popular TikTok personality Soupy is going viral with 1.2 million views. Likes, and 3.9 million views in 15 hours. Gen Z is not happy.
So they're just swapping out some of the phrasing.
Exactly the same wording. So,
could this be a propaganda push?
This is
not the video, but to push the video for its own purposes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, if you've got Chinese government officials sharing something, it works for Chinese propaganda.
Yeah, it means
and
they
if you've got their propagandists pushing it, then it's absolutely being used as propaganda.
It's being used as.
Yeah, it's being used as propaganda.
Yeah.
So, we were wondering, why are Chinese government officials and well-known CCP propagandists sharing this woman's TikTok video? So we decided to watch it.
Yes.
We're going to watch it with you, and we're going to discuss it and debunk things that are said in it.
Yes.
Or at least give clarity.
So I just want to preface this by saying, I don't think, I support anyone's right to do anything, to say anything. And although I disagree with her opinion, I genuinely don't think this video was made as propaganda. But I do recognize when something is useful as propaganda for other people, right?
I don't support people's right to do anything, especially I don't support Chinese government officials to post on a platform they block themselves.
Oh, that part I disagree with.
I don't support their right to do that.
No, I'm talking about the woman that made the video.
Oh, yeah, she can
have whatever opinion she wants, but I do not support CCP
Doesn't mean
officials.
she's right.
I didn't say that. I disagree with what she says almost entirely. entirely.
Yes.
But the CCP officials should not have a platform on Western platforms when their own country blocks that platform.
Yeah, exactly.
So Zhang Heching is sharing a TikTok video that serves his purposes as CCP propaganda on a platform that the Chinese government doesn't allow Chinese people to use. They can't use Twitter.
Yeah.
It's blocked.
It's blocked.
You can go to jail.
Yeah, people have.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look. Let's watch this video. I know. So it's coming. It's coming. Let's watch this together.
Fascist countries ban apps. Fascist countries ban apps. Fascist countries ban websites. Fascist countries ban apps and websites under the guise of threats to national security, when every other country knows it's about suppressing the free speech of its citizens.
Just some ironic censorship footage being edited into here.
Yeah, I put that in there so that you guys know. It's true. Fascist countries do ban apps.
Correct.
Like China, who owns ByteDance, the app that you're defending.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some of the apps that are banned under productivity there. What do we got?
Gmail, Dropbox, all the Google apps.
Yeah.
Microsoft OneDrive, Slack, Google Play. What else we got?
Social sites. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter or
Snapchat,
X.
Quora, Tumblr, Reddit. TikTok, by the way.
TikTok is banned.
TikTok is banned in China.
Yes. So,
The
you know,
supreme irony of this.
isn't that just ironic?
Yes.
Because remember, TikTok is like it's
a product.
It's a they've got Douyin, which is heavily censored, where you can't like talk about anything.
That's China's version of TikTok, yeah.
And then they're like, okay, we need an American version. So here's the American version of Douyin, and it's called TikTok. And then we're going to block it in China, but we'll allow the Americans to use it and we'll still have control over it.
The Chinese government blocks it because they know it's a negative influence on their people.
Yeah.
Whereas in Douyin, they can pump whatever they want into it to, change the narrative for their citizens.
I mean, you can go take a look at this list, but pretty much you can think of any app that you use.
Yeah.
And it's blocked in China, which
WhatsApp,
makes it
Facebook, Telegram, Line, Signal, all those.
Yeah. And if you go to visit China and you're used to using Google Maps to get around, forget about it. You can't. Unless you've got some kind of weird roaming thing set with your SIM card, then you'll be allowed to use it in certain things. But if you went to China and you bought a phone there, you couldn't even download Google Maps anyway.
I think it's just the sheer irony of these Chinese government propagandist officials and their amplifiers using this video to talk about why TikTok shouldn't be banned is the most rich thing I've ever heard in my life.
I know, it's crazy.
Coming from a country that blocks literally everything.
Every single thing.
Everything.
Yeah.
Except their own internal stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. So WhatsApp is blocked. Don't forget that. If you go to China and you think you can WhatsApp your friends, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, Line, like you said, Signal, whatever Kakao Talk is. Kakao.
I don't know what that is, but
that's Korean
apparently.
apparently.
There's plenty.
Like Amazon doesn't work. That was so frustrating. You can't have like a Google Home or an Amazon Alexa device in China. It doesn't work. You can't even have like a Google Chrome. I remember I bought one and I plugged it in, couldn't even use it. So DuckDuckGo, all of this stuff. We just have to. This is banned in 2025 and it has been for a long time.
Medium,
Skype,
Blogspot, WordPress, Skype, Google Hangouts, literally everything. And if you use a VPN to get on those things, you can go to jail, and you will oftentimes
people have gone to jail for it. And so when people try to throw out that argument, oh, it's easy, just install a VPN, they're encouraging you to break the law in order to just do normal tasks on the internet,
like go on Google Maps.
It's ridiculous.
Moving on.
So we just wanted to, we're taking this video, we're breaking it up. What does she say next?
If the government believes that a single app could, quote from the hearing on the 10th, skew the perspective of American citizens to be anti-American. And
I just wanted to point this out as Exhibit A, so to speak. This is an American defending a $300 billion Chinese corporation that is beholden to the CCP. And, I would think that she might actually be proof that this is working.
Like inadvertently.
Inadvertently. Yeah. I think she might be proof because she is attacking her own government on behalf of a massive corporation that belongs to an adversarial government. maybe that's because that's what she's been conditioned to do using TikTok.
Well, that's actually proven in the study that we have up here.
Oh, okay.
We'll go into that a little bit later.
We'll go into that. Okay, good.
Maybe the real problem is that American citizens are already in such a state of political unrest and unhappiness.
I wonder why.
So here's a nice graph I threw together.
Okay.
There's a study from Rutgers University. It's peer-reviewed now, by the way.
Okay, so it's a real study.
Yeah, so what they did was they said, well, let's go out to actually see if the CCP controls what content is on TikTok, right? Because the argument that TikTok or ByteDance is making, and all of its apologists are making, that it's not controlled by the CCP. It's a privately owned company. We know for a fact that if a company has CCP members on the board, which they do, then they have ultimate control over what you can and can't do. Doesn't matter where that app is operating, the CCP will dictate what happens, and I can prove it.
Yeah.
So what happened was they actually found out that if you look at pro-CCP content versus anti-CCP content on TikTok, anti-CCP content got 113,000 likes, right, in the sample, versus 28,000 likes for pro-CCP content, right? So you think, oh, well, that's interesting. That means the anti-CCP content has a fair shake.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting about this?
What
would you think would happen on any normal website or app if that was the case? What content would you get more of?
Well, if you're liking anti-CCP content a lot, you will get served more anti-CCP content.
And on YouTube and Instagram, that is the case. In fact, their samples with that turned out to be the case. Okay?
Right.
But what happened on TikTok was absolutely alarming. Okay?
Okay.
Despite the liking of the content 4 more times of
so 4 times the
4
likes.
times the likes of anti-CCP content. Pro-CCP content was recommended much, much more. On TikTok, users liked and commented on anti-CCP content nearly 4 times as much as they liked or commented on pro-CCP content, yet the search algorithm produced nearly 3 times as much pro-CCP content. Neither Instagram nor YouTube showed this extreme discrepancy between the content ratio of likes and comments.
So you're liking something, and they're like, we're not going to show that to you. We're actually just going to show you the propaganda.
Correct.
You know, the pro-CCP stuff. Look, this is Chongqing living in the future.
Yes.
You know?
Or much more malicious, genocide denial.
Yeah.
Right.
That
Okay, so let's carry on.
our government is scared a single foreign influence could tip the scale and have it all be over. Don't you think that by taking away the, and I quote, key communications channel of Americans, it's gonna make those 170 million Americans a little more anti-American?
Actually, no. So in this poll, I believe this was for ABC News, it says, do you think the U.S. government should or should not try to force the sale of TikTok to a non-Chinese company? The majority of Americans said yes, they should force the sale.
Right.
In the condition that it's not, right? If not sold, would you support or oppose the U.S. government banning the use of TikTok in the United States? They would actually, 53% of people, the majority of people would support them banning that in the event of not being able to sell it. So that's just not true.
Yeah, so it's factually not true. It's
factually not true.
But again,
At least according to this.
Why is there such an anti-American sentiment?
Well, because China is an adversarial nation that has a 9 out of 100 on the Freedom Index and literally operates $1 billion campaign to actually make America bad and to divide America through campaigns like the Hawaii fire misdirection and stuff and all that kind of stuff. It's their incentive and prerogative to actually make America fail.
Yes.
Which we'll get into more proof of that later. So just to make the claim that it basically sounds like a lot of these people, not just her, a lot of these people think that everyone opposes this and the American government is being super authoritarian to ban this. But this was put together by a panel of 81 elected officials. We have a democracy where we elected officials to make trustworthy decisions for us.
Yeah.
And the decision that they came to with surmounting evidence over and over and over again is that TikTok is controlled by the Chinese government, has negative intentions and purposes that could be used in a very bad situation against Americans. And they came up with a very good thing where if you force a sale, right, then it can be in America's hands and not be used for nefarious purposes for our country that quite literally wants us to be destroyed.
Yes.
Not the people. The Chinese government's intent is for America to be destroyed.
Correct.
So it's crazy. It's also quite disingenuous to not to not realize or that you can use many other alternatives, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels.
Sure.
The plethora of other apps that do the same thing.
There's tons. Yeah.
And those are safe apps that are not in control of an adversarial government.
Yeah, like Twitter is definitely an alternative if you wanted to put up stuff. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, I suspect a lot of people have an anti-American sentiment because that's what they're pushed on TikTok a lot of the time, and all social media. Really.
You'll see evidence of that being able to be the case.
Okay, let's carry on with her video.
Maybe Congress knows and understands that. Maybe the government knows that the backlash it will receive from banning TikTok does not outweigh the threats that come with its existence.
I just wanted to point out over here, why is she not angry with the Chinese government? Because they're the ones that the reason there could be a ban.
Yeah.
Because the American government's not saying we're going to ban it. They're like, look, you can keep it. Can keep running as long as you sell it.
It's, by the way, it's also a bipartisan approach. This isn't some like one dictator.
Yeah, it's not like the CIA or something.
No,
it's like
this is Democrats and Republicans that
everyone got together.
You know that meme of the handshake?
Yeah.
It's like that. Democrats and Republicans going, this is bad, and everyone going, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Okay, so then now the Chinese government, the Chinese government, not this company, the Chinese government is the one that's blocking the sale.
Yes.
Because it could be sold and then it would just carry on business as usual, but you wouldn't have the Chinese government with its fingers in the pie anymore.
There's another caveat to this.
What's that?
TikTok was allowed to run under Chinese government influence for how many years now in the US unimpeded, right? And it would actually be allowed to be continued if the Chinese government didn't keep breaking the rules, like manipulating the content like is found in this peer-reviewed study.
Yeah.
Didn't harvest Americans' data, didn't track journalists based on what they were doing on the app, didn't break every rule along the way and try to take advantage of this, TikTok would still be allowed.
Sure.
You understand? So the blame lies on the Chinese government. You know, the government that bans this app in their own country.
Yes, by the way. But that's my whole point. It's like, why are these...
I just don't get the argument.
Why are people like her not realizing that the only reason it could potentially be banned is because of the Chinese government?
Breaking the rules.
And also the Chinese government refusing to let it be sold.
Correct.
So if it gets banned, it's not actually the American government banning it. It's the fact that the Chinese government said, we would rather ban it than sell it.
Also, keep in mind that the Chinese government said this is an independent company that has nothing to do with the Chinese government. Then why are they trying to block the sale?
Yeah, why are they then the ones
why are there foreign ministers of the Chinese Communist Party getting on a podium saying this will absolutely never be sold? It's none of your business, right?
Yeah. Anyway, let's see.
Not in a matter of national security.
Okay.
What is this?
Well, TikTok admits using its app to spy on reporters in efforts to track leaks.
It came under so much scrutiny and pressure that they had to admit that, yes, we do and did track journalists.
Yes.
We did do that.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, again, it's not made up.
No. One senator said national security officials described how China can harvest user data and weaponize it through propaganda and misinformation. Another lawmaker said that they were told that TikTok is able to spy on the microphone on users' devices, track keystrokes, and determine what the users are doing on other apps. That's true. And they were able to, like if you're making searches there, they're tracking the keystrokes there as well. Not only that, they are actually employing trackers on other websites, even if you don't have the app. TikTok or ByteDance is selling tracking pixels to other websites to track your user data around the internet.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of
and
crazy.
It ultimately has to give that to the Chinese government.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
If they want. Which they do.
Yes.
But in a matter of being the most popular news and media outlet that the government cannot control, like American-owned broadcasting networks and publications.
I mean, here's the deal. You might not like these companies. This is a little tiny smattering, by the way. You might not like the companies that are on the screen right now.
Yeah.
You might think that there's some conspiracy where they're all shaking hands behind the scenes and coming up with grand plans.
Yeah.
But one thing you can't say is that these are beholden to the American government.
No,
these are private companies.
They are private companies. The thing is, of course, the government could approach them and be like, listen, it would be in national interest not to report on this or something.
And do they have to listen?
No, they don't.
No.
They don't. Some of them do. Some of them have in the past.
Does a private journalist in America that can exercise their freedom of speech, don't you think if they were making articles critical of certain leaders in their own country that they would have been shut down?
Yeah, exactly.
Or they would be like, I can't operate here.
Here's the thing. The fact that you cannot open a newspaper or website without seeing some rubbish about Trump or Biden, or usually just Trump every day, proves that the media here is allowed to go on the attack and is allowed to criticize and is allowed to dig into the personal lives of the leaders. Okay, it proves it, right?
You cannot do this in China.
Yeah, if it was completely government controlled, I mean, then the president, like Biden or whatever, would just say, like, you're not allowed to say anything bad about me. Trump could do the same.
Go on YouTube and look up some videos. You'll see hundreds of thousands of them railing against every politician in America.
Yes, what I'm saying is that, you're right. They're private companies, and they don't have to do what the government tells them.
No.
All right. So, let's see.
But the Chinese government directly controls every single media outlet in China and the ones that operates outside of China. So every media outlet in China is actually directly controlled by the government. So keep this in mind.
Those are state-owned.
There are no private media companies in China. They answer to the propaganda department or the state security department.
Yeah.
They have to listen to what they say, and they have to run everything through the censorship board before they put it out.
Yes.
These are directly beholden to a dictator.
Yes.
Not in a democracy.
So what happens in China is what she's kind of insinuating the American government does.
Yes.
But that's what actually happens in China.
It's not actually a theory.
No, it's true.
It's not debatable.
They don't hide it.
No, it's not debatable. Right? And probably the most important point here, and the real irony, and yes, that includes ByteDance, TikTok's parent company.
Yes.
This is ByteDance who owns TikTok. They are ultimately beholden to the Chinese government. Like
every company is.
Every company in China is beholden to the Chinese government. On, the pure irony here is on grounds of national security.
Yes.
So the Chinese government pulls information, pulls articles, censors people, black bags them, disappears them for anything even remotely critical about its leadership.
Yes.
And they do it on grounds of national security.
Yes.
Now, bringing it back full circle here, ByteDance is beholden to the CCP.
Yep.
What do you think they will have to do when the CCP knocks on their door and says, promote this, target this group, don't allow this? And it turns out that's been happening.
Of course it's been happening, because we saw from the data that when you like a certain type of video, they don't show you more like that. They show you more of what they want you to see.
Correct.
Anyway, let's see over here.
But in a matter of being the most popular news and media outlet that the government cannot control.
Again, okay, her whole thing is, and I wish she hadn't cut it right there, because it's kind of the lead up to that, and what she says there is important. She is saying that the American government is so scared of TikTok because it's a media that they cannot control, right? The government cannot control. But the fact of the matter is she's missing the whole point that, yes, the American government cannot control it, just like they can't control CNN or Fox or whatever. They can't. I mean, they can, to a certain degree, they can influence it, but they can't go in there and
whatever,
exactly. Yeah. They can influence. We're not going to pretend that doesn't happen. But the Chinese government can control TikTok. So
not can.
They do.
Does.
Yeah. So the Chinese government can control it, and she's okay with that, as long as it's not the American government.
That's I guess, and this has nothing to do with her. This is the opinion of a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's okay if the Chinese government exerts complete control over the app that you use for everything you do in your life.
And spies on you and everything, as long as it's not the big bad American government.
That's what's wild to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you make that leap?
How do they not see that the Chinese government is worse?
A far worse alternative.
And that the American government's the lesser of the two evils here.
Yeah,
it's your own bloody
That's also
government.
just being disingenuous to say that this ban is some authoritarian thing that nobody wants.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But let's pretend that's the case.
Yes.
That it's quite disingenuous. And no, it's misinformed.
Yes.
To think that the Chinese government is not the far sheer
way
more
worse.
evil entity.
Way
here.
worse. Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
The genocide government that's genociding its own people.
Like American-owned broadcasting networks and publications.
I just want to always remind people, and the sources down below, that China has one of the lowest journalistic freedoms in the world. It ranks 172 out of 180 something.
Yeah.
So it's quite literally at the bottom of the world.
Yes, yes.
America is no peachy paradise. We have a global freedom index of 83 out of 100. That's kind of like a B. It's a B.
B plus.
Right?
B plus.
We have internet freedom of 76 out of 100, but China, always remember, is a 9 on both fronts. And in fact, it has gone down by a measure of a lot since we've lived there.
Oh, yeah.
It keeps going down. And it never surprises me when China employs even more North Korea tactics. Yet somehow they are not the bad guys here.
Yes.
It's just crazy It's crazy that a lot of people have these incredibly staunch opinions where they deflect away from China and then paint their own country with this horrible brush, which again is your right, and I support your right to do that. But when asked or faced with the reality of people that have lived there over a decade and have seen how China operates and actually understand the language and can read the Chinese internet and understands the censorship and understands the laws and barriers and black bagging and all the horrible things they do to journalists, like us travel tourist people that were filming videos and almost completely disappeared in China with the SWAT
team busting into our hotel rooms.
If you understand those elements, you'll probably have a little bit of a different perspective about why China might be not the best country to lead the most popular app in America.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, just maybe.
Yeah.
Just maybe.
But whatever. That's just my 2 cents. This is the shocking part of this peer-reviewed study. Okay. If you look at this, we all know, and that's why I showed those figures before, China's not a free country, one of the least free in the world. It also has one of the worst human rights records in the world.
Absolutely. When people disappear, they disappear, and there's nothing. Human rights lawyers, artists, anybody who gets disappeared or put under house arrest, family members cannot find out where they are. Family members cannot contact them, sometimes for years at a time. When you get taken, you get taken.
Yes.
And that's when you realize you have no rights.
Correct. Never mind the religious minorities in China that are completely brainwashed, removed from their families, not allowed to practice their religion, thrown in jail for up to 15 years sometimes for reading the Quran. Catholics aren't allowed to practice openly under the leadership of Rome. There are so many examples of not only religious freedom, but racial minorities in China that cannot operate freely in
just
society.
Everyday people in China that get nabbed for nothing, like through corruption, like just because they pissed off the wrong guy who happens to have a connection in the CCP, they get disappeared. And again, 99% conviction rate.
99.9.
99.9 in the court. So if you're accused of something,
there's no rule of law. You
will go to jail. You will, no matter what.
Unlike the U.S. that has a judicial branch and 3 branches of government that keep each other in check, China has no branches of government.
Okay, here's the thing. It's kind of crazy to even think of talking about human rights when it comes to China.
It's nuts.
Everybody should know by now that the Chinese government's not a fair government. There aren't human rights. They don't give a crap. Okay? They will just steamroll anyone who says the wrong thing or gets in their way. You've got all the forced organ harvesting
and
nonsense.
labor.
You've got the forced labor. You've got the sweatshops. You've got the prison labor. You've got all these terrible things happening. Forced relocation of a land.
Dozens of new companies actually just got blacklisted under the Uyghur Forced Labor Act. The current leader.
Yeah. Anyway, the fact of the matter is China has an appalling human rights
So this is what
record.
makes this shocking, right?
Yes, yeah.
You go in, everyone knows that China's got a bad human rights record.
Yes.
It's freaking terrible,
Correct.
right? So you go into that with that base stat, right? That about 4.98% of people think that it has a good human rights record, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if you look at that red piece of the graph, that's people that are on TikTok, but they're using it less than 15 minutes per day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
that's pretty normal. I think 95% of Americans do think that China has a terrible human rights record, which it does.
Yeah.
It's true. But when you up that and you start using it from 15 minutes to 3 hours in that green part of the graph, you're on TikTok 15 minutes to 3 hours in that window per day. That jumps to 36% of people that think China has a good human rights record.
Exactly.
Right?
So it was 4.9%.
Yes, that's a
less than 5%. Suddenly 36% of people think China has a good human rights
that's
record.
8 times higher.
Yeah.
Right? You've just jumped and why do you think that's happening?
It's because you're being fed all this nonsense.
You're being fed malicious propaganda.
Yeah, it's like all this stuff about how amazing and free China is and how great it is and how advanced it is and how everybody's taken care of by the government.
And they're not.
And it's not the reality.
It's a dystopia.
Yeah.
Anyway, looking at the highest, if you use TikTok more than 3 hours, the positive ranking of human rights in China becomes about 50%.
Yeah.
So it went from 5 to 50%, 10 times higher.
Yeah.
When you're using TikTok. This isn't necessarily people going, I want to learn about human rights in China. These are just users.
You're just scrolling around, yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Is that not alarming?
It's very alarming.
By the way, I want to ask you this. Is that fair to Chinese people?
No, absolutely not.
What you've done is taken the Chinese government approach in how they should run their country.
What? Yeah.
And persecute their own people and agree with them on that.
Well, a lot of people don't realize when you're looking at this TikTok stuff, you're looking at middle to upper class, I don't know, like young women going out and eating barbecue or something, right?
Yes.
Whatever it is, or dancing or doing something, driving a fancy car.
Yes.
And you get this impression that's China. Come on, if you go live in China, you'll know that the average person is struggling.
Yes.
Okay? And there's a huge portion of the Chinese society is impoverished in a very bad way and downtrodden, treated like dirt, earning around $500 to $700 a year.
A lot of them, yeah.
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 And in the rural countryside. I mean, look, it's bad. Factory workers have it bad. Like, it's really not great.
There is a reason that there are tens of thousands of people rushing over the border into America from China. And there's a reason that Americans are not doing that to China.
Correct.
It's very simple, right?
That's correct.
We welcome Chinese people escaping persecution here in America. We do welcome that, right?
Yeah.
China does not welcome people running away from persecution in America because, number one, they're not.
Yes.
They're not running away to China. And number two, they wouldn't be allowed.
No, they wouldn't be allowed. You can't go to to China and say, I want asylum.
Look at this. I mean, to me, this is the most alarming graph that just proves everything. Yeah. Again, peer-reviewed studies down below in the description if you want to read them yourself. Yep. This is... I don't want to say be all and end all because we have a lot more.
Yeah, let's finish up her video so that we can look at the whole Little Red Book thing.
Yeah.
Maybe, if this was actually a national security concern, the government would be banning all Chinese-developed apps, like Shein and Temu, that collect the exact same amount of data as TikTok.
We agree, by the way. Please ban Shein and Temu.
Yes.
100% agree with you.
Yeah, as we showed you last time, maybe children will stop getting hurt by flammable clothing, toxic chemicals, and all this other nonsense. And also, mom and pop shops will actually have a chance to survive in whichever country you're in.
So, in this regard, by the way, 100% agree.
By the way,
bingo.
Source, please, what do you think a source is?
Yeah, I mean, here's my problem with that, though. There was one little caveat.
Yeah.
She said it collects the exact same amount. Where's the source for that?
I know where a source is.
My source is that I made it the f*** up.
That's right. However, they do collect massive amounts of user data.
Absolutely.
It could even potentially be worse. Yes. I'm just saying, I don't have that quantifiable statistic.
Correct.
And my problem, I think, actually, I'll sum it up after it's over.
Okay.
Because maybe it knows TikTok is something special.
It is something special. TikTok is a psyop from the Chinese government, which is not an ally. Yeah. It is an adversarial nation that wants America to fail so that it can exert more control over the U.S. It's been proven time and time again.
Yes.
It is doing things that are tantamount to war, and we're right on the cusp of kind of being able to acknowledge that, but nobody's ready to do it yet. Yeah. They are doing horrific, horrific things. Yes. The more you look at it, when you look up Uyghur, which is the Muslim minority in Western China, there are millions of them. Yeah. Right. There are over 10 million Uyghurs in China. Yes. The vast majority of the content that TikTok feeds you
is irrelevant. That's how they drown it out. Isn't it interesting that on YouTube, the pro-China content far outweighs the anti-China content?
Yes. Well, that is because China has a massive prerogative to pay influencers.
There's a billion influencers out there saying how great Xinjiang is now, and
whereas people
the Uyghurs are great.
Whereas people critical of us, we can't go to China to go do journalism. You're not allowed to.
No,
they'll black bag you.
Yes,
you're done. Right? That's the irony, right?
Yeah, it is.
The irony is that a Chinese journalist can go fly over to America and report on homelessness.
Yes,
but I can't go to China to report on homelessness.
Yeah, of course.
You understand?
Yeah. So what TikTok does is, it doesn't give you any results. It says like, okay, they searched Uyghur. Let's see, are we going to give them a pro-China or an anti-China? You know what? We're just going to give them garbage. Let's, I don't know, send them a video about bricks.
Literal bricks.
Yeah, like actual mud made
They'll
out
probably
of mud.
also send them a video about BRICS.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be something irrelevant, so it just kind of throws you off. You know what I mean? And that's how they get rid of this. Like people stop searching because you're not getting anything.
You're not getting anything. You get frustrated. You're like, oh, there's no content.
It's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
It is interesting. It's also just super nefarious.
Correct.
You can look at a bunch of other figures here, which are great. These graphs are fantastic, but here's an example of the irrelevant content.
Yeah, when you search Uyghur, it's like epic fail Sonic.
And Q-tips.
And, this is what we mean by irrelevant.
Yes.
So isn't that crazy? It's like if I searched for cars and I get basketballs.
Yes.
It's just like, what does that have to do with anything?
Nothing.
That's how they divert away from this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you guys give this video a thumbs up if you agree that this is a very nefarious thing that's happening?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thanks.
that. Look at this. This is the average like count on posts for the search term of Tibet, right? Mm-hmm. When served up, you end up with irrelevant content.
Okay.
When you do that for Xinjiang or Tiananmen, you get irrelevant content. In fact, the thing that's actually the craziest part is that if you like a post, for example, if you like a post about what's that here, the green one here, you end up getting such few results. It's not even funny, but you look at the gray bar here and you're just getting served up things that have nothing to do with the topic.
Average like count of TikTok for posts on the term Xinjiang.
Right.
Yeah, you just get irrelevant junk. Yes. Anyway, we get the picture. They they manipulate what you see. It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's proven now. Right?
It is proven now. It is proven now. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Okay.
Yeah. Views per. So this is interesting. If you go to YouTube and you like a pro-China video, your like turns into about 44 views. Okay. So it's worth about 44 views of content that the algorithm will feed you. If you like an they should say anti-CCP video, but anti-Chinese government video, it'll serve you up about 39 views, okay?
Isn't it interesting?
Slightly biased, right?
Yeah, it's biased. YouTube is biased against anything anti-China these days.
But look at the first graph.
Yeah.
The average views per like for TikTok, if you like a pro-China video, you get 15 views, and it's half of that for the anti-Chinese government videos.
Manipulated.
Half. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Percentage of participants who agree with the statement that China is one of the most desirable travel destinations in the world, and this is by TikTok usage.
Right.
If you've never used TikTok, you think of China as a good travel destination 21% of the time.
Yeah.
If you've used less than 15 minutes, that jumps up to 27%. If you go to 15 minutes to 3 hours, that's 38.8%. And if you're on TikTok more than 3 hours per day, that jumps up to 41%.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So you could kind of mirror that across any issue, like about China. If the Chinese government's promoting something, whether it's tourism or human rights or genocide denial, right? Yeah,
it's fairly obvious what's happening here is they're changing people's opinions and minds. They are, propagandizing them.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see what she says.
Can't politically organize.
I wish you hadn't cut these where you cut them, because
I just wanted to show some
sentences
graphs.
are being missed. Yeah. Anyway, let's see.
You can't politically organize on Temu.
She's right. You can't politically organize on Temu because it's not a social media app. It's a marketplace app.
Yeah.
And she's talking about these apps are also.
Let me try to. I'd like to try to piece this together because you've cut it up, which makes it really weird.
That collect the exact same amount of data as TikTok. Because maybe it knows TikTok is something special.
They know TikTok is something special. You can't politically. Hang on. Where is it? Something right special.
Here, You can't politically organize on Temu.
So she's saying that you can politically organize on TikTok. Let's see. Where's the rest of her sentence here before we go back to your graphs? Hang on. We'll get back to the graphs in a second.
If TikTok goes dark, the government deliberately and knowingly took away your free speech. Do not accept national security for an answer.
So her argument is that they're not going to ban Temu because you can't politically organize on Temu, but they want to ban TikTok because you can politically organize on it and go against the government, right?
That's the argument.
That's what she's saying, right?
In my mind, that's not reality.
No, of course that's not reality. And she says the Chinese government, I mean, I want to say the Chinese government is the one that wants it banned, okay? At the end of the day, it's their fault. Blame them if you need to blame someone. But do you see how she's actually very counter to what she's trying to do here? She wants TikTok to remain, but she's proving a point here, is that it's an adversarial country, right, that controls this app, that allows you to attack your own government and obviously is encouraging it through...
It doesn't allow you to be critical of China.
Oh, you can't be critical of China. They bury that, right?
I was banned.
Yeah, exactly. TikTok, and it's just... the irony is just lost. You know what I mean? Because guess what? You can politically organize if you want on any social media. We've seen it.
Of course. On Facebook, lots of protest forum on Facebook against the U.S. government, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's get back to your graphs that you've got in here. I just wanted to make that coherent.
Sure.
On Temu.
Okay.
Just wanted to throw out there, remember, this is a country now that has hacked our telecoms.
Yeah.
Our infrastructure, water and electricity.
Yep.
With the ability and intention of being able to turn them off in a conflict.
Yeah.
Remotely. So the Chinese governments can say Americans don't get water, they don't get electricity, and we can spy on their conversations. They have been spying on your conversations.
Yeah.
They're in your phone. They statistically probably hacked your telecom network. If you're one of the if you're part of one of the major
big ones, Verizon and all those
AT&T,
big ones,
AT&T,
AT&T,
You have been a victim of the Chinese government, probably unknowingly.
Yeah.
You should know about it because the U.S. government is being transparent, telling you about it.
Sure.
Right? We know about these attacks now. We know the intentions of the Chinese government. And letting them willingly be or control an app that most Americans use for their lifestyle, for their influence, for their opinions, and they're quickly becoming their major news app.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think the implications of that are?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's quite obvious.
Yeah.
It's bad, guys.
Yeah. No, it's terrible.
It wasn't just made up for this idea to ban it, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Why is it that this certain group of American citizens thinks that it's totally okay to accept the censorship and control of the Chinese government?
I don't know.
When they're so vehemently against any kind of government control.
Because number one, a lot of people aren't informed about how bad the Chinese government is. Number two, I think that Americans are not used to having things taken away. Right?
Yeah, true.
There's an element of being spoiled. There's also an element of being staunchly pro First Amendment, which I agree with. Right?
Yes.
But the First Amendment can't be dictated or controlled by an adversarial country that blocks their own citizens from all the things that they control in your life. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so this is something that you put in here. What did you say?
China hacked your phone, they hacked your water supply, and they hacked your electrical grid. By the way, those are not tinfoil hat theories. They did all of those things. Look up Salt Typhoon. Look up Volt Typhoon.
Yep.
They harvested your data. They push Chinese government propaganda on TikTok. They teach their citizens to hate the USA and that the USA is the enemy. But you're chill with the Chinese government controlling an app that can be mobilized by an adversary in a situation of conflict.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Okay. So
Thank you very much.
TikTok goes dark. The government deliberately and knowingly took away your free speech. Do not accept national security for an answer, ever.
I think you should accept national security as an answer if you actually care about your safety.
Yeah, so again, completely support her ability to be able to put something like this out there because that's the First Amendment. We all have differing opinions. I disagree with her. I'm sure she disagrees with me. My problem with that whole thing is not that she put it out there. My problem is that it was co-opted by the Chinese government to use as propaganda, and there's not one source or piece of data in the video.
Yeah.
Yet we just told you and showed you probably 6, 7, 8 sources that back up every argument that we have.
Yeah, and this is the issue, is when something like this is going viral like it is, I mean, when we last looked, it was around 10 million views. A lot of people are taking that in and taking her word for it. Now they believe that it's the American government's out to control you. You know, they're out to take away your freedom of speech, which, by the way, has been the biggest push from the Chinese government. Is like, don't ban TikTok because that's freedom of speech. Your freedom of speech is going to get taken away, you know. I don't understand why they get to have a say. I don't know why the Chinese government's allowed to have freedom of speech.
That's what doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They don't allow their citizens to talk to you on these apps.
Yeah.
Right, which we'll get into in a second, because
Yeah.
they don't want Chinese people to interface with Americans.
Yes.
They don't want them to.
Yes.
They like that they have an intranet.
Yes, it's
It's
true.
the pure irony.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Moving on to this Rednote.
Yeah,
thing.
we've got to get into this because this is very
The
important.
number one app in America is Xiaohongshu, right?
Yes.
Xiaohongshu means Little Red Book. We'll look at that picture in a second. Now, a lot of you guys are hearing on news outlets that this is called Rednote. And we even named the title of this. It is not called.
It's not called. This
Rednote.
is okay. Think about this. Imagine Germany releases an app called Mein Kampf. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
But then when it starts to gain popularity abroad, they're like, no, that's not actually what it's called.
No.
It's called the book written by Little Old Man,
Yes.
or it's called Green Book or something. You know what I mean?
The reason they're doing this is Little Red Book, as you'll see in the next slide, in fact, is a reference to, despite their denial,
Yes.
is a reference to Chairman Mao's Little Red Book, even though Rednote, this company,
Yes.
Xiaohongshu, claims that it is not that.
Yeah,
Even though
right.
the only reference I've ever heard in China, in my 10 years in China, to Xiaohongshu is Chairman Mao's.
All the Chinese people I
Little
know,
Red
including
Book.
my wife who use Xiaohongshu,
Yes.
they're like, yeah, it's Little Red Book, like
Yes.
Mao's Little
Yes.
Red Book.
Everyone knows
Everyone
that.
says that.
They're trying to co-opt this. This is Chairman Mao's Little Red Book with some absolutely amazing quotes like hundreds of millions of Chinese people can be sacrificed as long as we end up on top.
Yes.
Really horrific things.
Yes.
Really absolutely
It's-
awful, awful things.
It is a brainwashing, horrible little, collection of quotations by, Mad Mao, who killed more people than any invader ever did in China.
Than any person in the world.
In history.
And his
Yeah.
own people.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He's
Tens
a-
of millions.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
Xiaohongshu, Little
Is
Red.
now the new thing. And this is what this TikTok refugee thing is. Again, we're seeing these propagandists who work for China full time. And if you ever want to torture yourself, you can go look at their Twitter pages, but it's literally just China's good, America's bad. But like
Yes.
horrible stuff.
It's influence
Yeah,
operations.
exactly.
Right.
On a platform that's banned in China.
The irony.
They're putting stuff out like this. Young US Americans are grateful to be able to use Rednote and be so kindly received. And, they're putting out, hi, Rednote friends, thank you for having us here, type thing.
So it's all these people, this idea that TikTok might be banned on the 19th.
Yeah.
They're going to run over to a different app because they need to have a replacement for TikTok. By the way, which would be YouTube Shorts
Yeah,
or Instagram Reels or any of the other apps that do the same thing. Little Red Book is not an
It's not
alternative
the
to
correct. Yeah,
TikTok.
we're going to get into it in
Yeah.
a bit. But why do you think it is that they're suddenly going to Little Red Note? Why do you think? It's because TikTok is pushing that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's why.
If you go in the comments
Why would they? Why
on
would,
TikTok
yeah,
videos,
Yeah.
it's hundreds of thousands, if not millions now, of bot comments
Yeah.
telling people to go over here. And it's weird because Xiaohongshu would be a competitor financially with TikTok.
Yeah.
But
it's still under control of the Chinese government.
it
That's
is-
what they want.
It is the prerogative of the Chinese government to take all of those users that it's about to
Yes.
lose and get them over and corral them into something it also controls.
Correct.
And I'll tell you why they do this real quick. The Chinese government doesn't understand how things work, right? If you were to sit down with a high-level CCP official, they don't understand what TikTok even is. But what they do know is they know that it's a thing that controls over 100 million Americans' opinion about China,
Yeah.
and they can be employed for that. It's one of the best psyop weapons. If we're ever in World War III, they can employ it against America, right?
Yes.
They know that that's important.
Yes.
They don't care what app does it. It could be called Rhapsody.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
could be called Pandora's Box, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
Doesn't
what
matter
it is,
what
right?
it is. Yeah.
These, I just picked two music apps.
Sure, for some
It
reason.
doesn't matter what
Yeah.
it's called.
Yeah.
It just matters that they can exert that influence over 170 million Americans, right?
Correct.
Now that they're faced with this dilemma, because I can tell they didn't see this coming.
No.
They didn't think it was actually
They
gonna
thought it
boil
would.
down to
Yeah,
this.
they thought it would just be
The Chinese
pushed out
government's
of the way.
always used to winning.
Yeah.
Right? Because they can exert monetary control over people. They can blackmail. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They're used to winning all the time. Now that this ban actually is probably going to come into fruition,
Yeah.
they're like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
It shows you how sloppy and knee-jerk they are.
Yeah.
They're not playing 4D chess here.
No.
The 4D chess was manipulating Americans, but if that goes away, they need to get them somewhere else. So this is like a last-ditch effort to get them into an app that really is not a replacement for TikTok.
No.
Right.
Well, I mean, here you've got very well-known propagandist over here saying, congratulations to another Chinese company for becoming the #1 most downloaded app. Come on.
You're South African. Would you say, like, congratulations to South Africa for having a great app? I wouldn't. Congratulations to America for having Google Maps.
Dude, this guy's entire career is based on, sucking the G-bar of the CCP in order to get, like,
whatever, incentives
and stuff. Come on, like, that's what he does. It's his job. All right. Americans flocking to Xiaohongshu is proof China has won the tech wars. Americans will not accept an inferior product. Instagram. Now imagine if China was allowed to sell its cars in the USA. They would dominate.
So this is the kind of propaganda you're seeing.
The kind of rubbish you're seeing, yeah. And again, you're getting the same stuff over and over. Yeah. These propagandists, they have one thing to do, and that's to push a narrative. And they take the same screenshots, they put out the same stuff. Wada. Xiaohongshu's great. Look, it's so friendly. You've got all these people saying like, it's peak irony that TikTok banned led to Americans to explore Chinese social media and discovering pretty much all they've been told about China, and it was a lie, By the way, this guy is massive shill. Okay. He's like Communist Party of the UK's princeling or something nonsense. I can't remember, but you just, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these people are just pushing this garbage, right? You got state media personalities pushing stuff like U.S. soft power is over. Xiaohongshu, also known as Rednote. No, it's not also known as... They made that up like yesterday.
It's like Fetch.
Okay? They literally made up Rednote like a day ago.
It's Little Red Bug, guys.
Has hit #1 on U.S. App Store following news of a possible TikTok ban on January 19th.
This is a flash in the pan.
It is a flash in the pan. But yeah, you got people like going on there like celebrating. It's out of spite, TikTok refugees are flocking to an actual Chinese-owned clone of TikTok. It's not, by the way. It's nothing like TikTok.
It's like Instagram. It has nothing to do with TikTok. Douyin is TikTok.
Exactly.
Nobody knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's learning Mandarin. Existing users are super welcoming.
Wow.
Yeah, whatever.
What kind of Stretch Armstrong is this? Everyone's learning Mandarin?
Yeah, so let's talk about what Xiaohongshu really is, okay? Yes. Because maybe our audience is not familiar with it.
Correct.
The app has 300 million users. This is, again, a Chinese state media employee giving us the facts, which is very, very useful. Thank you. 70% are women. Half of them were born after 1995. 35% were born after 2000. So it's for young people, right? Yeah. Half come from China's top cities. So it's only for the wealthy middle to middle upper class.
Yeah, and it's often Chinese abroad.
Yes.
Right? Chinese people living
exactly,
abroad.
The diaspora.
Yeah.
Xiaohongshu is a place to share and search for information on restaurants, travel, makeup, fashion, and everything else young people like.
It's not the same as TikTok.
No, it's not political, by the way.
Yes, we'll get into that.
Yeah. This is a sampling of what you would find on Little Red Book. Okay? And if we just take a quick look, it's the typical like, I'm checking out a food. Like, look at this little cake.
Right.
Look at this fashion.
Right.
Some makeup, some travel stuff, the Jellycat specials on plushies or whatever. It's like, it's what you would expect for that demographic. My wife uses it. It's like it's usually women, as he said. Mm-hmm. And it's also, it's the kind of place where people can set up a shop and sell like handbags, or as you can see on the side there, sell handbags, you can sell makeup, you can have your little store, you can become an influencer, like, check out this lip gloss or whatever. Sorry, I'm not very well versed in what goes on there completely, but you know what I mean? Yeah. It's that kind of thing. One thing for sure
it's a women's lifestyle app.
It's also a lifeline for the diaspora overseas.
Correct.
That are not living in China. And I know this because my wife, she makes friends through that.
Yeah.
They share details and loopholes on how to take advantage of Costco deals or whatever, kind of thing, right? Yeah. That's what it's really for.
Right.
It's not to go on there and talk about your political issues and whatever else and
shit on
do
America
dancing videos or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not like TikTok, right? So it's not an app that's suited to that.
No.
You know
it's
what I
not
mean?
a replacement.
It's kind of like a fashion-related thing. This is what it's looking like right now with all the TikTok refugees coming in. And you can see it doesn't really match, does it?
No.
Previously, you've got all those, like, very filtered, very slim, kind of like, here's a handbag and a lipstick.
Yeah.
And now you've got like, whoa, howdy, guys, whatever. Just TikTok,
So this is something interesting that's happening. Because of this, the people are going over there and meeting Chinese people, and Chinese people are meeting Americans for the first time, and there's actually very nice interactions.
That's the positive thing that's coming out of this.
The funny thing is that China is about to careen into a wall, because this is something they've prevented for a long time.
They don't want that mix.
They don't want people to have American values. It's something that the top leadership pushes all the time.
Yeah.
That's why they block TikTok in China.
Exactly, yeah.
They don't want them to see what free life looks like in a free country.
Yes.
Whether that's criticism of America or not, they do not want people to see that that's something people can do.
Yeah, now Xiaohongshu has always been behind a language barrier.
Yes.
Even the app's name is in Chinese. It's in Chinese characters, right? So your average English-speaking person's not going to know what it's about. They're not going to know how to navigate it because it's all in Chinese. But they don't have a choice. They're desperate. They're trying to move people over.
So this is like a soft power victory in the interim that they're going to have to try to find a way out of later.
Yeah.
Because what these people, these refugees don't understand is you're just going into another Chinese controlled app that's actually probably even more Chinese controlled.
Yeah.
And as you're gonna have to use hidden secret words that Chinese people have had to adopt a completely different vocabulary to communicate with each other about anything because they get banned all the time.
Well, there's some interesting things coming up about that. I just wanted to once again reiterate what the little red book is. Okay.
Yes.
You can see it here in this awful communist propaganda, but it was used as a symbol of Mao Zedong. It was used as a symbol of Chinese superiority. Mm-hmm. It is not good. Like I said, it's like Hitler's Mein Kampf.
Yes.
It's the same idea. It's got that power. And to call your app after that is actually in very poor taste. All right? And if you were to see, this is what it used to be, the red guards running around. These are the people that ratted.
That's why they're trying to rebrand.
Yeah. They ratted their teachers out. Their parents. They murdered their teachers and the intellectuals and stuff. They ran around, and with this little red book, they had all this power to go and destroy everything and ruin people's lives and murder them and steal from them and do all these terrible things, And this is what people are signing up for, is this little red book, this app that's named after this little red book.
Yeah, I mean, to conflate that is disingenuous. Like, the name is that. They're not signing up for what the little red book was.
But they are signing up for an app that's... It's like signing up for an app called Mein Kampf. Right. It really is.
Right.
You can't dismiss that.
No, the rebrand is hilarious.
Yeah, it's stupid that they're trying to say, oh, no, it was Rednote all along. It wasn't. Xiaohongshu is directly translated to Little Red Book.
Yeah, and they claim that it has nothing to do with it. Anyway. Yeah.
And this is kind of funny, the memes coming out, like Americans after their government bans TikTok. It's literally that, okay? The thing is, people are already finding out, okay, that some content isn't allowed on Rednote. So TikTok refugees have already noted harsh restrictions on Rednote that have resulted in their content being removed or their accounts being suspended.
TikTok, the app that banned me for posting anything critical about the Chinese government, by the way. Yeah. It turns out, the stuff that I could post on there about America being bad and all this kind of stuff, I can't post this stuff.
Yeah.
If I'm gay, I can't post stuff about that because that's not allowed either. It turns out when I go to a Chinese government-controlled app, I can't express myself.
Yeah, exactly. What a surprise. So people are being suspended, including for mentioning LGBTQ plus identities or for women wearing slightly low-cut top. Okay, that's crazy. One TikTok user returned to the platform to share that she had been banned from Rednote after posting a selfie with a tiny bit of cleavage.
Because it's not allowed in China.
And a separate video mentioning trans plight. A black user asked for help online after her selfie was removed, all for wearing a shirt in the same color as her skin tone. So they probably thought like that she was naked or something and removed her. Yeah. I mean, people are going to find out really quickly. And it's kind of mind-blowing that people would be willing to go and accept and join a heavily censored app that's controlled by the Chinese government and think that that's okay. Yeah. Put up with Chinese censorship. Put up with the Chinese government censorship because they think that the American government is censoring them. I don't quite understand this.
It's like post-truth reality.
It's like, I will go and accept real censorship
Yes.
and think it's
from
okay.
an authoritarian country.
Yeah, and not complain about it.
Right.
I'm just going to accept that because it's the Chinese government that's censoring, so that's okay.
By the way, that government wants the worst for me as an American.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Isn't it weird?
Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy.
Yeah. What's this about?
So, Xiaohongshu is an innocent lifestyle app or another security risk. So, some investigative journalists, I believe this was for Radio Free Asia, went in there and they looked up Tiananmen Square.
Yes.
They looked up in Xiaohongshu. It did not.
Oh, by the way,
results.
I saw people searching in English for this too, and it doesn't have any results in English either. Makes sense, right?
Because it's not allowed. You're not allowed to ask what happened in Tiananmen Square when the Chinese government mowed over thousands of students in Tiananmen Square and killed all of them.
Yeah.
If you look up 6/4, which is the date of Tiananmen Square, you write Tiananmen.
It says you're banned for like 2 hours or something.
Yes, and when 2 hours ban. When you post a picture of Tank Man, one of the guys that stood up to those tanks, those PLA tanks in Tiananmen Square, your account will be banned.
Yeah, makes
They
sense.
actually block the account.
It makes complete sense.
This is on Little Red Book on Rednote. This is your freedom of speech. A message sent by one Xiaohong. This is a message, a DM.
Yeah,
this is where it
DM.
gets
So this is
creepy.
not public.
No.
Okay.
A message sent by one Xiaohongshu user in which they referred to Xi Jinping as Papa Xi, which, by the way, is not even a
It's not
negative
bad.
thing at all. No.
It's like saying Daddy Trump.
Yeah. Yes.
Sounds weird.
Was censored in transit and never reached the recipient's user's phone. Instead, they received a reminder to report any messages violating the app's terms of service. By the way, I found this out in ByteDance's, which is unrelated to TikTok's, ByteDance's AI, that if you ask them, should content about Xi Jinping be censored on American apps? It basically says yes.
Yes.
If you say, should content about Biden be censored on American apps, it says no.
Yeah, of course. That's ByteDance for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying you're not much better off here.
Yeah. So what's this undesirable information includes?
This is the Xiaohongshu, the Rednote terms of service. What do we got?
Violating the principles of the Constitution, inciting resistance or undermining the Constitution, inciting resistance or undermining other laws. Other laws, just all of them.
It's all of
Yeah. Endangering nation's unity, sovereignty, or territorial integrity, revealing state secrets,
This is
threatening
about the
national
Chinese
security.
government, by the way,
Yeah.
not the American government.
No, this is about the Chinese government. Undermining the dignity, honor, or interests of the state, promoting terrorism or extremism, denigrating the nation's excellent cultural traditions.
Where we heard that?
Okay, yeah, exactly. Chinese excellent culture, yeah. Inciting ethnic hatred or discrimination, infringing on national customs, distorting national history or historical figures, hurting national feelings.
Hurting national feelings.
Wow, that's kind of vague.
You get banned for hurting China's feelings at
Yes.
Xiaohongshu.
Undermining national
Great app.
unity, which, by the way, is what you see TikTokers doing to America.
Yes.
It's all about division, right? It's about like red versus blue. It's about like, government sucks and like America sucks and like everyone. It's all about division, right?
Yes.
Undermining national unity is not allowed on Xiaohongshu. Endangering social morality is not allowed on Xiaohongshu.
Yes.
Disrupting the social order is not allowed on Rednote. Undermining social stability is not allowed on Rednote. Promoting obscenity, gambling, or drug use is not allowed on Rednote. So all of these
there's
things.
more.
Yeah. Oh, there's more? Okay, let's see.
We don't have to go through everything. I just wanted you guys to get an idea of what you're up against.
Okay. Wait, promoting. Okay, let's see. We'll just go through it. Rendering violence and terror, abetting crimes or teaching criminal methods, infringing on the lawful rights and interests of minors, damaging the physical or mental health of minors, insulting or slandering others, spreading others' private information, inciting resistance to or undermining the state's religious policy. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, promoting religious fanaticism, endangering religious harmony, hurting the religious sentiments of religious citizens, undermining the unity of believing and non-believing citizens, promoting cults and superstitions, violating any of the 7 bottom lines,
These are great.
breaking any laws or regulations, just any, okay?
Yes. In China.
Yeah. Contravening the socialist system.
You can't criticize socialism, guys.
Yes.
How ironic is that?
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Contravening national interests, whichever those may be, infringing upon citizens' legitimate rights and interests, disturbing public order, offending public morality, speaking inauthentic information. Sorry, spreading inauthentic information. So, all of TikTok, really? Because, like, if something's not completely proven to be true, you're not allowed to say it, basically. Breaking other laws and regulations. It says, like, breaking any laws or regulations, and then also other ones.
This is a giant net.
Yeah, it is a giant net.
This is Xiaohongshu.
Yeah, this is Little Red Book. This is Rednote. This is what you signed up for, guys. This incredibly censored thing, and you think it's freedom. You think it's like, finally, here's an app, and we can give a middle finger to the American government because they can't control us there. Guess what? The Chinese government can control you there.
Yeah, you know what they do?
What?
Well, when state security organs in China are collecting evidence in the course of investigating acts of espionage, all individuals or organizations concerned must provide truthful information and cannot refuse to do so. China's recently enacted counter-espionage law requires any company or individual to provide any information requested by state investigators. It's illegal to refuse.
Yeah. So when they say, give us all the DMs, all of the pictures, all of the access to that person's phone, his microphone, camera, and everything that's got Xiaohongshu or TikTok installed, they have to. They can't say no.
It's a Chinese app.
It's illegal to do.
Yeah, this is provided by Asia Fact Check Lab.
Yeah.
So when asked, if you ask Google AI, is Xiaohongshu, is Rednote subject to Chinese foreign influence, right?
Yeah.
It says, yes, Xiaohongshu, a Chinese social media platform, is subject to influence from the Chinese government, meaning it likely censors content deemed politically sensitive by Beijing. Similar to other internet services within China, this censorship is a key feature of the platform. Now, the reason I did this is I would never use AI to just prove something to you. That's nonsense. But what I do is provide sources.
Correct.
So when you break these down, whenever you get an AI result, you can actually break them down as to where they got their sources from. So in the next slides, you'll see where they got their sources from. And all of those are linked below.
Okay.
Unlike people that just like to get addicted to spreading hateful messages and screaming at the camera.
Yeah.
We like to provide sources of where this information comes from.
Like most apps and internet services in China, Xiaohongshu is subject to censorship. Platforms typically enforce censorship by deleting or shadow banning content that Beijing deems politically sensitive. Large Western platforms such as Google and Facebook are blocked in China.
Correct. And there are 3 sources that gave this information about Xiaohongshu, by the way. Again, linked below. This was on a Semaphore article about Xiaohongshu's new influx of foreigners, of Americans, these refugees.
Refugees,
TikTok,
TikTok refugees.
Meanwhile, the influx of foreign culture and languages could cause problems for Xiaohongshu, which is already heavily censored and could face heightened pressure over content moderation.
Yes.
They are going to be overwhelmed.
I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I think people are going to put up with it because everyone wants to say,
China won.
China's great and, American government bad. So I'm going to put up with the censorship, but it's going to grate on you because if I know Americans, I know that they like to speak their mind.
Yeah.
And when people tell them you're not allowed to and stuff gets banned, I think they'll get rowdy very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I really do think so.
There could be some serious disruption. I think Americans, if anyone, will find a way around the censorship to put out their displeasure with what's happening to them on that app and potentially about China or Chinese government things, and that will reach 300 million Chinese people now.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Not a good idea for the Chinese government.
I also think that, the thing is, the Little Red Book, Xiaohongshu, is not tooled up for English.
No.
It's meant for Chinese language speakers. Not yet.
They'll figure it out.
So I think a lot of stuff's going to slip through in the beginning.
I thought this was an interesting quote, and I think it's a wildly misinformed quote.
Okay.
And I just want to prove something. Okay. The reason that our government, and this is talking about America, is telling us that they're banning TikTok is because they're insisting that it's owned by you guys, the Chinese people, government, whatever, she said. And they're trying to make us think you guys are bad.
This is someone on Xiaohongshu leaving this message.
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of us are smarter than that, though, so we decided to piss off our government and download an actual Chinese app, she said. We call that trolling. In short, we're here to spite our government and learn about China and hang out with you guys. Oh, lovely intentions.
Sure.
Doesn't make any sense. China is I don't know about you, but in American schools, we are taught to do nothing but love other cultures, appreciate other cultures, to learn about other cultures. In China, they are quite literally taught that you, as an American or a Japanese person, are the enemy of China.
Yeah.
They teach children this. They teach them to hate, how to shoot you in schools, in military campaign in the schools.
Yeah.
They spread information about how America is the worst country in the world and wants nothing but bad for China.
Yeah.
You don't learn that in America.
No, I can attest to that. I've got a young child who's in school, and I mean, she's always bringing some random culture thing home, like some paper lantern or some,
China,
Spanish thing or some Korean thing or some random, you name it. She's bringing it back and she's just learnt all about whatever festival over there. And I'm like, okay, it's nice. I'm glad that she gets to learn all of this stuff, but it's like, yeah, okay, cool. Where's your culture? Let's be like China. I'm joking. No, I mean, when you've lived in a country like China for so long, where they actually reject any other form of culture, to see this in America is very heartwarming.
Yes,
it's
lovely.
I love that. I love the fact that my daughter knows more about the cultures around the world than I do.
Yeah,
she learns it in school.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It is awesome,
right? It's about this human race. We're all in it together. But China is not. The Chinese government is like, we are Chinese, you are foreigners, and we're going to keep our culture. We're going to reject all of your stuff. You're not allowed to practice or celebrate certain things, especially not in any official capacity in China right now. Anything like Christmas and all that. Yeah, you can have your mall decorations, but you're not allowed to like set up a Christmas tree and have a nice thing in your school or your government apartment or anything that's linked to the government. You're not allowed to. So you know what I mean? It's pretty bad how they do that.
Well, let's just look at a quick little video about what they teach in schools.
This is what they teach Chinese children. They don't teach them about the beauty of other cultures.
No.
You know? They're like 我们第一,中国第一.
那你最讨厌的国呢？
What country do you hate the most? He says it's the U.S. U.S. and
这么讨厌啊？为什么
I
呢
hate them so much. Why? Regardless of the good and bad, I hate them all. Use Chinese schools.
Yeah.
战斗指示，底部打开枪战，后方及强大的火力，与南方分支给。
那你长大了想干什么呢
What do you do when you grow up? I want to kill Japanese and I want to kill the Americans.
Yeah.
As a teacher interviewing a student.
Yep.
And then posting it, and then everyone online saying it was good.
Yeah.
One time I felt so much hate it made my nose bleed.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Just a little smattering.
I mean, look, we've both been there. I taught kindergarten kids for about a year and a half in China, somewhere around there. And I saw firsthand how the little children were taught to hate Japanese people. And it really made me sad to see that. And also just the massive amount of nationalist brainwashing that goes into it.
Yes.
So, again, we're dealing with a government that doesn't like you very much.
No.
Okay.
No.
Anyway, what is this? It's unlikely that Americans will settle on Rednote.
Yeah, I mean, so this is how I wanted to finish this.
Yeah.
I don't want to pour cold water in this. I like the interaction between Americans and China
Again,
right now.
we think that's positive. The fact that Chinese people and Americans are meeting on an app and talking. The thing is, they've been able to do that all along. No one's ever stopped Americans from going on Xiaohongshu.
No, we were able
No,
to.
like-
it's just because of this ban.
Yes.
There's this immigration.
Oh, now we're going to go and we're going to show them. Well, you stupid idiots. If you wanted to do that all along, you could have done it.
Yes.
So it just shows you didn't never cared about it.
You didn't care enough,
Yeah.
right? But it's like trolling, right?
Yeah.
I'll make a prediction. This flash in the pan thing, this isn't going to last.
Yeah.
Xiaohongshu Rednote is not going to be some prolific TikTok counter. It's not going to be what people use permanently after this. Americans will eventually just migrate to other apps that do the same thing, like YouTube, like Instagram. I'll make a prediction. I think they would, what is it called? Rednote.
Yes.
Xiaohongshu.
Yeah.
They would be lucky if they get 5% of the Americans over from TikTok. They'll be lucky if they get 5%.
Right.
Just because it's #1 app right now is because it's a new thing that people are downloading. It is not the majority of TikTok users.
No.
This will be a fad, right? It also is something that the Chinese government's probably not going to want unless they already have some massive contingency plan to warp people's minds over there as well. But it looks like a mess.
I have another prediction. Xiaohongshu is going to release an American version called Rednote.
Yes.
Okay, that's going to be in English for the American, market that will allow people to talk about LGBTQ and whatever nonsense they want to talk about.
But it's not
anything that they want.
It's not for Chinese people.
But not Chinese people would be banned in China.
They won't be able to. Yeah, that's what'll happen.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
If it gets enough traction.
Yeah. I think they're sitting there and they're like, "Ooh, look.
Yeah.
This is working. Let's quickly roll it out. Let's roll out Rednote."
And so and
then we got to get these Americans out of our Xiaohongshu because they're messing with our message here.
Yes. So this was from Time Magazine you were reading.
Okay. Oh, yeah. It's unlikely that Americans will settle on Rednote or Lemonade. Long-term, Lemonade is another one of them.
That's an actual TikTok kind of competitor.
They face the same regulatory pressures that TikTok does, but these apps' ascendance does reveal an acute desire from Americans to find their next social media destination. Their general wariness about TikTok's top American competitors and their discontent with a ban that may be seen as paternalistic. Yeah, that many see as paternalistic. It's quite possible that Rednote's honeymoon will be short-lived. Some users have experienced concern that Rednote will be quicker to censor content that is political, sexual, or LGBTQ related, and Rednote also faces a potential ban. While Congress Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary-Controlled Applications Act singles out TikTok and other ByteDance apps, it also regulates other foreign adversary-controlled applications.
It might be a bit of a whack-a-mole situation we're going to be looking at here.
Wouldn't it be such a pity if Xiaohongshu gets blocked?
Yeah, well, you know what? I really like like I said, I like what's happening right now, but I really think give it 3 months, and if Americans do want to stick with the app, they're not going to be happy about what they're not allowed to put on there.
Exactly.
It's just not.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, yeah, go ahead, and that's the thing. Experience it for yourself.
Yeah.
Just go enjoy it. Have fun. Talk to Chinese people. I suggest that anyway. You know.
I do not recommend downloading a Chinese app though.
No, I agree.
For your own data privacy.
I agree with you. Yeah, we can't recommend. I say go talk to them.
Yes.
But maybe.
You know what you should do?
A Chinese app?
You know what you should do?
What?
If you're on there, advocate for the freedom of Chinese people. Advocate for the freedom that Chinese people shouldn't have to break the law to try to get on Twitter or on YouTube or on all these other apps, which everyone around the world's allowed to use.
Yeah.
Except for North Koreans and Chinese and Iranians and stuff, and Turkmenis.
Exactly, yeah.
And Cubans. Those countries don't allow their citizens to participate in dialogue with us. We could have been talking a long time ago. We've been advocating for this for a long time.
Yeah.
So exercise your right to stick up for their freedoms.
I'd love to see more Chinese people allowed on social media apps.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And stop being walled off all the time.
Yes. Anyway, I think we've run out of time here. So
probably we'll just a quick little thing. Listen, rumors whether this is true, it's like sources close to whatever, you know.
TikTok's claiming this is nonsense, by the way. So
they're claiming it's nonsense?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, according to sources, Chinese officials have been talking to Elon Musk about buying TikTok. If that's really true, I think everybody has to worry a little bit. You know what I mean? Because if the Chinese government's going to trust him to run their propaganda thing.
Not even him. If they were like okay with a sale, like all of a sudden overnight, I would be like, what business dealings is that person?
Yeah, what's going on?
You know.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that, guys. I guess it's time for us to hit a Q&A.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to go into our Yamcha segment. This is where we answer your questions and question your answers. We thank you for putting up with our rather hastily thrown out.
Yeah, we
show
said to get this
week.
out there because you guys were hammering us with questions about it.
Also, we just have to inform people because a lot of people are misinformed. They were thinking that Xiaohongshu was the Chinese version of TikTok. A lot of people.
It's not.
It's not. It's Douyin is the Chinese version of TikTok. And I don't understand why they didn't go there, by the way.
Yes.
Why?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
It's strange.
It is strange.
You know why? Because it's probably very familiar to TikTokers, and then they'll realize that, hang on a second, it's, they don't allow us to do this.
Well, you also can't just sign up.
Oh, yes, that's right. You need to
ID. By the way, if you want to use Chinese apps,
I forgot
most of them require a Chinese ID.
Yeah, you're absolutely
They don't want
right.
you
and a
in
Chinese phone number and all that.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, you get the
idea. So anyway, let's get into the Q&A. And for those of you who are not watching now, this is our week's video, by the way. So we'll see you again next week.
Yeah.
And we'll leave the Q&A up for the rest of the week.
Yes.
All right. Stay awesome.
Chinese Pride says 2025 is going to be wild. The year of the snake. It's
my year.
Ouroboros.
Ouroboros.
Oh, okay.
That's the snake that eats its own tail.
Yeah, that's correct. So let's plan some protests and follow through until the PRC sheds the CCP's skin. Usipra. I miss the bike. In support of you both spreading the facts. Well, you just pick it up. Pick up the bike.
You know what? One thing I do want to show everyone.
Okay.
Something funny. Something you missed out on.
You just need to be like this.
You just need to be like
or this. Smell it. Alcohol and tobacco consumption.
What?
The kind Santa Claus with a gray beard and a red cotton-padded coat, all together with his cute deer.
Cute.
Together with his cute deer.
Why is she so upset? She's like, this is the worst painting I've ever seen.
Yes, I do.
Is that like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something? Yes,
too.
I do.
Sorry, baby.
That is the shittiest ad I've ever seen. Yes.
Never mind.
That was Xiaoban Ho.
Yes.
Xiaoban Ho is our Monday show. If you go to patreon.com/ADV podcast, you will get access to our Monday show. We have over 100 episodes. There's currently a deal where you can get you can lock in for half price.
Yeah.
It is the show where we cover a completely different topic on Mondays. This time, on this episode that you missed, but
It was amazing.
You can go watch.
Yeah.
If you sign up, it was about Lianhua Qingwen, which was the Chinese government's medicine to stop COVID.
Yeah.
Around the world, and the FDA was like, nah.
Yeah.
Anyway, a lot of other countries accepted it, and it was just this herb garbage.
Yeah, but they made this fantastic ad campaign. There was, it's aimed at foreigners, and that's where a lot of our sound bites come from. Like if you've seen this.
Take the pills, Jeff.
I just get cold.
Just working out.
They're amazing.
Yeah, so
they're so funny.
Honestly, that's where those sound bites come from, and we had a whole bunch of these hidden ads, and we showed them and went through the timeline. It was so good.
It was one of the best episodes we've had in a long time.
Yeah, so
go check that out. Go to patreon.com/ADV podcast. Sign up for the Ho 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 sale. The holiday sale's still going because it still seems wildly popular.
Is it
so we're keeping it going for a little while.
Guess it's still holidays in your heart.
It is, and it's January.
Is that a holiday?
Like it's snowing, it's cold out. Yeah, it's got the vibe.
It's got the vibe. It's got the vibe. Yeah, but check it out if you get the chance.
Yes.
Anyway, let's get back to the Q&A.
Lane Kendall says, appreciate y'all going live for this. Best in the game. Thanks very much. I appreciate you saying that. And yeah, I don't think anyone had such a ravenously detailed coverage as we do about the TikTok ban. By the way, I made a TikTok ban video today.
Please go check it out.
Yeah, it's getting suppressed. Like beyond, it's the worst performing video I've ever had, and people watching are like, "This needs to be important. People need to see this video."
Yeah.
I proved that ByteDance is beholden to the CCP.
Yeah, remember when we showed you the ByteDance AI? You went even deeper. And you asked even more.
I asked the audience some questions, and they came up with some very poignant things to ask ByteDance.
Yeah,
about its CCP influence. It's bad.
Yeah,
it's so bad.
Correct.
So go to LaY86. It's in the description. Go check it out.
There's a link. Go check it out, please.
You will like it.
Yes. Okay. Where is that nonsense? Here it is.
You'll follow me, okay?
I called it, are you on the fence about TikTok? Watch this.
Yeah.
Because if you are on the fence about TikTok, I'm confident you might be swayed after watching that video.
Yeah, please go take a look, yeah.
Yes. Lane Kendall, thank you very much. Fantastic Forager, thank you very much. Nice